Measuring how a customer views a firm under the balanced scorecard framework is important because customer perspective is directly linked to a firm's revenue and profit. In a perfectly competitive industry structure, any competitive advantage that one firm has will be short-lived. When a blue ocean strategy is successfully formulated and implemented, investments in differentiation and low costs are not substitutes but complements. Which of the following statements is true of customer-oriented visions? They define a business in terms of providing solutions to people's needs. Which of the following is a disadvantage of the balanced scorecard approach to measure firm performance? It provides only limited guidance about which performance metrics to choose. There exist important trade-offs between value creation and low cost because value creation and cost tend to be positively correlated. Which of these is a way to reconfigure a value chain? Entering an industry by offering sporting events on streaming video when competitors are offering them through cable hookups. According to the resource-based view, a firm's competitive advantage often stems from its tangible resources opposed to its intangible resources. Which of the following is an advantage of accounting data? Accounting data can be easily transformed into financial ratios to help assess and evaluate the competitive performance of firms. Even though EasySpeak Incorporated and GM107 Incorporated operate in the same industry, telecommunications, each firm has a different and loyal customer base. While EasySpeak Incorporated attracts young students and professionals through its efficient network coverage and pricing, GM107 Incorporated attracts elderly customers solely due to its excellent customer service. Thus, both firms draw their strengths from distinct resource bundles. Which of the following assumptions of the resource-based model of competitive advantage does this scenario best illustrate? Resource heterogeneity. Gadgets and Stuff Incorporated is a vendor who supplies machine parts to an appliance manufacturing company. In return, Gadgets and Stuff Incorporated relies on the company for its revenue and is affected by any decisions taken by the company. In this scenario, Gadgets and Stuff Incorporated is an external stakeholder for the appliance manufacturing company. Microchips Corporation is a company that supplies microprocessors to 2020 Processors Incorporated, a computer hardware company. When 2020 Processors Incorporated demands lower prices for the microprocessors, Microchips Corporation makes it clear that it would profit more from launching its own brand of laptops and desktops in the market. Fearing the competition it would then face from Microchips Corporation, 2020 Processors Incorporated decides to buy the microprocessors at the quoted price itself. In this scenario, Microchips Corporation, as a supplier, has exercised its bargaining power by threatening to forward integrate. For a firm to sustain its competitive advantage, any fit between its internal strengths and the external environment must be dynamic. A fragmented industry turns into a consolidated industry when firms reduce competition within the industry through mergers and acquisitions. While SmartTech Incorporated incurs $350 to manufacture a laptop, its competitor, Better Electronics Incorporated, incurs $300. However, laptops of both the companies have been able to create the same value among customers. From the given scenario, it can be inferred that Better Electronics and SmartTech share a differentiation parity. Which of the following has contributed to Tesla's competitive advantage in terms of stock appreciation? Reinvesting profits to continually design and produce better electric vehicles. The viability of a differentiation strategy is severely undermined when the differentiated products become commoditized throughout the industry. A diagnosis of the competitive challenge, an element of a good strategy, is primarily accomplished through strategy analysis. Let's Roll Incorporated and Ride 4 Cycles Incorporated are two competing motorcycle companies. While Let's Roll's cost of goods sold/revenue is 63.4%, the cost of goods sold/revenue of Ride 4 Cycles is 54.2%. What do you infer from this financial data? Let's roll is less efficient than ride forever cycles in producing goods. Which of the following is not true concerning a customer-oriented mission? It defines the means of how a customer need will be met. The auditor of a public company is assessing the value of all the intangible assets owned by the company. Which of the following would most likely be included in this assessment? The company's brand equity. In the experience curve, firms change the underlying technology while holding cumulative output constant. Oberlo Autos competes against the global leaders in the automobile industry by developing and selling acceptable quality vehicles at a lower price. This has been possible due to the company's large-scale production that reduces its manufacturing expenses. Which of the following generic business strategies is Oberlo Autos applying in this scenario? Cost leadership strategy. All of the following below are examples of external stakeholders except employees. The sum of consumer surplus and producer surplus for a good or service equals the economic value created. There are several cost drivers that can be managed in order to establish a low-cost leadership advantage. One of the primary cost drivers is combining experience-based learning and process innovation to move onto a steeper learning curve. Which of the following is a philanthropic responsibility of a firm? Exhibiting corporate citizenship. Which of the following firms most likely has the lowest bargaining power as a buyer? A cell phone company that requires highly customized software for its phones. In the context of the VRIO framework, a resource is said to be valuable if it allows a firm to take advantage of an external opportunity. All of the following are tools primarily used to achieve cost leadership except offering products at a premium price. Which of the following is a feature of a fragmented industry? It consists of many small firms. Generally speaking, which of these situations is likely to lead to greater profits? An industry with fewer but larger competitors. Incumbent firms can benefit from several important sources of entry barriers. Economies of scale are one such source. Which of the following is an implication of economies of scale for incumbent firms? They can demand better terms from their suppliers. GiftBasket.com has successfully created a higher perceived value in the e-commerce industry, though it offers the same products at slightly higher prices than the competitors. This has been mainly attributed to the company's easy-to-navigate website, simple return procedures, fast delivery, and cash-on-delivery option. Thus, the value driver for GiftBasket.com is its superior customer service. A good strategy should be able to provide products and services to customers at an attractive price point while maintaining internal costs, resulting in value creation. Patents, designs, copyrights, trademarks, and trade secrets are 5 forms of intellectual property. An organization's underscore describes what the organization actually does, the products and services it plans to provide, and the markets in which it will compete. Mission. Which of the following groups is most likely to be considered a firm's internal stakeholder? Board members. Which of the following statements about competitive advantage is not true? A firm's competitive advantage is always absolute, not relative. ABC Hard Drives Incorporated, All Digital Incorporated, and FastFax Corporation are all companies that manufacture and sell consumer electronics. They procure their component parts from a similar set of suppliers in China and sell the final product to customers with similar needs. Thus, the 3 companies together are a part of an industry. According to the Level 5 leadership pyramid, the Level 2 manager is an contributing team member. Using the managers can see how competitive advantage flows from a firm's distinct set of activities. Value chain analysis. In a focused differentiation strategy, a firm seeks to deliver products or services with unique features to a specific, narrow part of the market. Which of the following SWOT factors are internal to the firm? Strengths and weaknesses. William estimated that a pair of perfect fit jeans would be worth $60 for its brand and durability. However, at the Perfect Fit store, the pair of jeans he wanted was available for $45. The difference of $15 in the scenario is referred to as the consumer surplus. The cost leadership strategy helps a firm achieve competitive advantage when it does which one of the following? Permits a firm to perform similar activities differently than its rivals with resulting lower costs. Easy Solutions Incorporated has been operating in the country of Jantland for almost a decade. The nation is currently experiencing an economic downturn. Which of the following is the most likely benefit of this economic condition for Easy Solutions Incorporated? Easy Solutions Incorporated will have better access to highly skilled human capital at a lower cost. When an organization briefly describes what they do and how they do it, they have more than likely articulated their mission statement. Which of the following actions of an automobile firm will be considered as a strategic commitment? The firm investing 8 years and $4 billion to develop a range of hybrid cars with which it will compete in the future. Dr. Shetty is able to drive down the cost of complex medical procedures from $100,000 to $2,000 not by doing one big thing, but rather by doing 1,000 small things. This approach focuses on driving down the cost of healthcare through process innovation. Organizational core values are the answer to which of the following questions? What commitments do we make to act both legally and ethically? Firms pursuing a cost leadership strategy seek to deliver products or services at a lower cost than competitors. Which of the following statements accurately brings out the difference between economies of scale and learning effects? Learning effects occur over time, whereas economies of scale are captured at one point in time when output is increased. The board of directors of Quick Incorporated, a company that has a large product mix, has decided to get actively involved in research and development for the next 3 financial years. Budget for each business unit under the company will be allocated from the headquarters in proportion to its previous performance. The board has also decided to liquidate those units that have failed to perform so far. Which of the following strategies does this scenario best illustrate? Corporate strategy. In which of the following cases was a company at a major competitive disadvantage? Without a clear strategic position, Sears tried to be too many things for too many types of customers. What term is used to describe cooperation by competitors who want to achieve a strategic objective? Co-opetition. Restrictions imposed by the government, such as export quotas on certain products, are a part of the political environment of the Pastel framework. A firm is likely to have a competitive advantage when it provides services that consumers will value more than those of its rivals. The value chain view describes the internal activities a firm engages in when transforming inputs into outputs. In the 1980s, Japanese competitors brought better quality chips to the market at lower cost, threatening Intel Corporation's position and strategic plan regarding the production of DRAM, dynamic random access memory, chips. When the functional managers at Intel came up with the simple rule of producing whichever product delivered the higher margin, the frontline managers shifted Intel's production capacity away from the lower margin DRAM business to the higher margin semiconductor business. This bottom-up strategy emerged as a consequence of the firm's resource allocation process. Which of the following questions would a firm's business strategy ideally answer? How should we compete? A firm that follows the differentiation strategy is protected from the threat of new entrants primarily due to its reputation for quality. Which of the following is not a disadvantage of the balanced scorecard approach? It fails to allow managers to prepare the company for future growth. The annual net profit after taxes for Telecorporation, a multinational conglomerate, is $5.5 billion. As legal owners, which of the following stakeholder groups has the most legitimate claim on this profit? Shareholders. The 2 primary competitive levers that managers can use in order to answer the question of how to compete are value and cost. Phones Incorporated and Speed Dial Corporation are two competitors in the mobile phone market. The cost incurred by each company to manufacture smartphones is $200 per unit. Although both the companies sell their smartphones at the same price, Speed Dial Corporation has a larger market share in the smartphone industry. What does this imply? Speed Dial Corporation has been able to offer more perceived value than Phones Inc. A consolidated industry turns into a fragmented industry when restrictive government policies are introduced in the industry. The pattern of faulty and biased decision-making that occurs in groups whose members strive for agreement at the expense of good decision-making is called groupthink. If a company has 25 million shares outstanding and each share is traded at $400, the market capitalization is $10 billion. The metaphor of a black swan best applies to events that are considered highly unexpected and highly impactful when they do occur. Stan has been recently promoted to the position of a team lead at an insurance company. This promotion was based on his boss's assessment that Stan is capable of conveying the company's vision and mission to groups. As a result, he can guide groups to superior performance. From this scenario, we can say that Stan is currently at level 4 of the level 5 leadership pyramid. A firm's activities are best described as distinct and fine-grained business processes, such as order taking, physical delivery of products, or invoicing customers. By selling a laptop at $1,200 for which consumers are willing to pay up to $1,300, a consumer electronics firm makes a profit of $500 per unit. What is the economic value created in this scenario? $600. One major limitation of using accounting profitability as a measure for competitive advantage is its focus on tangible assets versus intangible assets. Which of the following statements best supports the fact that even during a period of low demand in the U.S. automotive industry, excess capacity remained? GM and Chrysler, despite their bankruptcy, restructured instead of exiting the industry. When the Alta Velocidad Española Avenue was completed, it impacted Spain's local airline industry. Which of the following statements about the 5 forces does this reflect? Substitutes made it difficult for generating a profit potential in Spain's airline industry. As differentiation and cost leadership are distinct strategic positions that require important trade-offs, it is quite difficult to translate a blue ocean strategy into reality. The idea that all available information about a firm's past, current state, and expected future performance is embedded in the market price of the firm's stock is called the efficient market hypothesis. Supreme Coffee Roasters is a premium cafe that is reputed for its superior customer service. The coffee shop also serves gourmet food to its customers, which allows it to charge a premium price. Cheap Beans, in contrast, is a chain of coffee shops that charges the lowest price in the industry due to its self-service policy. However, Vales Coffee Incorporated has found a balance between these two strategic groups by using automated ordering to free up its employees to work as master baristas and bakers, thus focusing on creating excellent products. It charges a price slightly above that of Cheap Beans. In this scenario, Vales Coffee is following a blue ocean strategy. A company's vision primarily states what the company wants to ultimately accomplish. Why are black swan events such as accounting scandals and the global financial crisis perceived as caused by cheap credit and subprime mortgages offered by financial institutions bad for business? They erode the implicit trust between the corporate world and society. When a company makes improvements in its social, economic, and ecological performance, it is adopting a triple bottom line approach to assessing competitive advantage. If costs are equal, when a firm has a higher value gap than its competitor, it can be inferred that the firm can charge a premium price for its products and services. If a firm is not effectively organized to exploit the competitive potential of a valuable, rare, and costly to imitate VRI resource, the best case scenario is a temporary competitive advantage. Hit Me Up is an instant messaging mobile application. Users have access to a basic version with limited message recipients for free, but they have to pay a fee to have unlimited message recipients or to use advanced features. Which of the following business models does this best illustrate? Freemium. Which of the following statements accurately brings out the distinction between a firm's resources and capabilities? While resources reinforce core competencies, capabilities allow managers to orchestrate their core competencies. AZME Incorporated has retained you to review their low-cost strategy for their company. Based on several consultations with the client, you realize that their per-unit costs are actually increasing as their business grows and expands. You conclude that this firm is experiencing diseconomies of scale. One major limitation of using shareholder value appreciation as a measure for assessing competitive advantage is that stock prices oftentimes reflect the irrational and psychological mood and behaviors of investors. Alan Greenspan, former head of the Federal Reserve, referred to this as irrational exuberance. All of the following are examples of internal stakeholders except suppliers. Owners of coffee plantations in the country of Cantonica grow their own coffee beans and supply them to various stores and restaurants all over the country. There are many plantation owners supplying to a huge number of companies, and they are typically unable to differentiate their products from one another. They also do not have the power to fix their own prices in the industry. In addition, these suppliers can only achieve competitive parity and not a competitive advantage. Thus, the coffee bean industry in Cantonica best illustrates structure. Perfectly competitive. Which of the following groups will not be considered a company's internal stakeholder? Suppliers. FL Systems Incorporated and Arixo Systems Incorporated are two competing firms. FL Systems Incorporated has $300,000 in tangible assets and $200,000 in intangible assets. Arixo Systems Incorporated has $150,000 in tangible assets and $347,000 in intangible assets. In the context of the resource-based view, which of the following is the most likely implication of the asset values of the two companies? FL Systems Incorporated will find it harder than Arixo Systems Incorporated to attain competitive advantage. Which of the following statements does the upper echelons theory support? Executives interpret situations through the lens of their unique perspectives, shaped by personal circumstances, values, and experiences. Let's Talk Corporation is a public company whose shares are currently trading in the market at $150 each. The company manufactures smartphones at the cost of $300 per unit and sells them in the market for $500 each. What is the company's producer surplus? $200. According to the value chain analysis, which of the following is a support activity? Research and development. A blue ocean strategy typically allows a firm to offer a differentiated product or service at low cost. Which of the following statements will effectively guide a strategist? The principles of strategic management can be applied universally to all organizations. Delish Corp is a chain of supermarkets that sells its fruits and vegetables at higher prices than its competitors. Yet, the supermarket chain has a large customer base due to its wide product portfolio and superior customer service. Which of the following generic business strategies has Delish Corp adopted in this scenario? Delish Corp is probably pursuing a differentiation strategy. An experience curve attempts to capture both learning effects and process improvements. Strategic group mapping establishes that competitive rivalry is strongest between firms that are within the same strategic group. The starting point of the build, borrow, or buy framework is management's identification of a strategic resource gap that will impede future growth. A strategic alliance has the potential to help a firm gain and sustain a competitive advantage when it joins resources and knowledge that are common in the industry. Which of the following best illustrates a strategic alliance? All Pharma Incorporated teaming up with a research company to invent and market breakthrough vaccines. Firms enter strategic alliances to have a positive effect on economic value creation. The local real estate companies in a city have joined together and arranged a property fair. The sponsors will equally share the expenses of the event. Although many companies compete against each other, they have joined together because the medium will help the companies market themselves through a dedicated forum at an extremely low cost. This arrangement is best referred to as co-opetition. Which of the following statements is true of the real options perspective? The approach allows the incumbent firm to obtain additional information at predetermined stages. A non-equity alliance is the most common type of strategic alliance because it is easy to initiate and terminate. Which of the following is an example of explicit knowledge? The findings of a research published in a scientific journal. What happens in the third phase of alliance management? Alliance partners make relation-specific investments. In order to rejuvenate its floundering product lineup, Disney acquired Pixar. The process of joining two independent companies with their consent to form a combined entity on a permanent basis is the definition of a merger. The purchase or takeover of one company by another is an acquisition. The management at Fast Autos Incorporated and All Start Automobiles Incorporated realized that by combining the two entities, the stakeholders of both the companies would benefit. Their core competencies would act as complementary assets to each other. Consequently, All Start Automobiles joined with Fast Autos to form a combined entity called just All Start Incorporated. Which of the following does this scenario best illustrate? A merger. Trek Incorporated, a large conglomerate, took over a small startup company that had made some breakthrough innovations in the field of telecommunications. This purchase would help Trek to gain access to the startup company's superior technology and human capital. This transaction is an example of an acquisition. The process of merging with a competitor at the same stage of the value chain is best described as horizontal integration. Which of the following best illustrates horizontal integration? Rich Industries Incorporated acquires its competitor, Bean Electronics Incorporated, to gain access to its core competencies. Which of the following is one of the reasons that firms make acquisitions? To gain access to a new capability or competency. To secure a strong strategic position in fast-growing emerging markets. Which of the following corporate strategies did Kraft Foods primarily pursue by acquiring Cadbury? Horizontal integration. A form of self-delusion in which managers convince themselves of their superior skills in the face of clear evidence to the contrary is the definition of managerial hubris. Which of the following was one of the primary reasons why Adidas acquired Reebok? To overcome a competitive disadvantage. An merger is used to describe the combining of two companies that are equal in size. Builders Square, a do-it-yourself home improvement store, recently purchased Tiny Tool Inc., a smaller incumbent. This would be best described as an acquisition. When a firm wishes to consolidate the industry in which they compete by merging with their competitors, they are engaging in horizontal integration. There are several benefits of horizontal integration. Which of the following below is not a benefit? Access to new marketing and sales divisions. A process of closer integration and exchange between different countries and peoples worldwide, made possible by falling trade and investment barriers, advances in telecommunications, and reductions in transportation costs, is the definition of globalization. Recall Autos Incorporated, an automobile company based in the country of Springfield, made a capital investment of $400,000 to set up production units and distribution channels in the country of Uganda, from where it plans to access the Uganda market. Such investments are best known as foreign direct investments. Relaxicab Incorporated is a 100-year-old multinational enterprise, MNE. Which of the following activities would the company most likely have been involved in during the stage of Globalization 2.0? It would have increased its local responsiveness to country-specific circumstances by duplicating business functions overseas. Which of the following is a feature of Logitech as a global collaboration network? The company has been able to organize work continuously because its teams in different locations around the globe can work 24/7. The best explanation of why Gulf Airlines are giving U.S. legacy carriers stiff competition is that the Gulf carriers offer better service for lower costs than do the U.S. legacy carriers. The additional costs of doing business in an unfamiliar cultural and economic environment, and of coordinating across geographic distances, are best described as a.n. liability of foreignness. Which of the following strongly affects the cultural distance between two countries? The languages spoken in each country. According to the Cage Distance Framework, cultural distance most affects industries or products that are related to national and/or religious identity. According to the Cage Distance Framework, what does cultural distance represent? The cultural disparity between an internationally expanding firm's home country and its targeted host country. Which of the following factors best helps capture administrative and political distances? The absence or presence of weak legal and financial institutions. Companies from wealthy countries tend to trade with other rich countries rather than poor countries because they can replicate their existing business model more easily. Which of the following foreign entry modes requires the highest level of investment in terms of capital and other resources and allows for a high level of control? Acquisitions. Which of the following is an advantage of using licensing or franchising as a foreign entry mode? Either one requires low capital investments. Prestige Worldwide Incorporated owns coffee plantations in Brazil. The company trades its coffee produced directly with coffee merchants in foreign markets who later resell and distribute it throughout their country. In this scenario, Prestige Worldwide's activities best illustrate exporting. The strategic foundations of the globalization hypothesis are based primarily on cost reduction. Which of the following statements is true of local responsiveness? Local responsiveness generally entails higher costs. The Bluth Company is a condominium building company that is based in the country of Veritas. It sells high-priced homes to consumers in Veritas as well as to consumers in other countries. It has extremely high brand loyalty. The industry it operates in is characterized by low pressure for local responsiveness and low pressure for cost reductions. In this scenario, the Bluth Company most likely pursues an international strategy. Swiss-based Nestlé, the largest food company in the world, is well known for customizing its product offerings to suit local preferences, tastes, and requirements. Which of the following strategies does the company pursue? A multi-domestic strategy. Tyrell Corporation is an electronics company based in the country of Palmia. The company has manufacturing facilities in 4 other countries where labor costs are low. It also has its research centers in 3 other countries because these countries offer best-of-class capabilities. However, Tyrell Corporation does not offer much product differentiation, which means that price is the main competitive weapon. In this scenario, Tyrell Corporation most likely implements a global standardization strategy. According to Porter's Diamond of National Competitive Advantage, factor conditions are best described as a country's endowments in terms of natural, human, and other resources. Globalization is how firms are able to source supplies at lower costs, to learn new competencies, and to further differentiate their products and services overseas. Multinational enterprises will often make foreign direct investments, FDI, which is a firm's investment in value chain activities abroad. Global strategy is a firm's quest to gain an competitive advantage when competing against foreign companies around the world. Location economies are described as the benefits from locating value chain activities in prime geographies for a specific activity. A large conglomerate is deciding on the range of new products and services it can offer to its customers to further expand its operations. This decision determines the firm's geographic scope. The executives of Anaplan Inc., a large conglomerate, are making decisions on the stages of the industry value chain the firm must participate in, the range of products and services it should offer, and the global market it should compete in. What are they? Exclusive, primarily determining the boundaries of the firm. Firms often consolidate industries through horizontal mergers and acquisitions to increase their market power. Which of the following examples would most likely limit a firm's growth? A social entrepreneur makes conservation of the environment the primary goal of his firm. Which of the following is an example of transaction costs? The cost pertaining to setting up a shop floor. Disadvantage associated with obtaining goods and services externally includes non-trivial search costs to be borne by the firm. Lillian, a real estate agent, is selling a moderately priced house in a subdivision she knows from her uncle. At the factory being built half a mile from the subdivision will be manufacturing dog food. Do you see a process that creates a very strong odor that permeates the surrounding neighborhood? A buyer who is unaware of the type of factory under construction makes an offer on one of the houses Lillian is selling, and without a short time the deal goes through. What does this scenario best illustrate? Information asymmetries. When Pluralsight Products planned to start operations in Amerigo, an emerging nation, it realized that it would have to set up its own distribution channels. This would be a risky and expensive strategic move. The company had option of hiring small supply chain management company Elastic Logistics to reach its ultimate customers. However, this would require Elastic Logistics to make huge investments, which would be of no use to it if Pluralsight Products decided to exit the market. That's to gain Elastic Logistics confidence. Cleaning Products purchased 40% of the stock of Elastic Logistics. What does this scenario best illustrate? Equity alliance. Backward vertical integration is best described as the changes in industry value chain that involved moving ownership of activities upstream to the originating inputs point of the value chain. Which of the following best illustrates backward vertical integration? A chocolate manufacturing company setting up its own cocoa plantations. Stickler started as an original equipment manufacturing firm OEM for brand name mobile device companies. Later, it started offering a lineup of innovative and high-performance smartphones by acquiring Built, a San Francisco-based design firm. This strategic move of Zscaler is known as forward vertical integration. Which of the following best illustrates human asset specificity? Training employees on how to operate a customized furnace. LMP Automotive Holdings, Inc., a large multinational conglomerate, has hired an external consultant to process and audit its payroll. This allows the company to focus on manufacturing and marketing activities rather than developing and maintaining its own human resource management system. Which of the following alternatives to vertical integration has LMP Automotive Holdings, Inc. adopted? Strategic outsourcing. The rationale behind related diversification is to benefit from economies of scale and scope. Amazon expanding its single product business by leveraging spare capacity into cloud computing, and by offering its Kindle line of tablet computers and Echo line of digital assistants. This is an example of related link diversification. Adopted? Strategic outsourcing. Which of the following is an example of related constrained diversification? A company dealing in home appliances, hiring another company to carry out its marketing strategies. Which of the following best illustrates a dominant business firm? 89bio Inc. is a luxury brand that derives 90% of its revenues from its apparel line and 10% of its revenues from the premium furniture business unit. North Carolina National Bank (NCNB) used its unique core competency of identifying, appraising, and integrating acquisition targets to be rebranded as a Bank of America on the largest bank in the United States. This is an example of a firm leveraging existing core competencies to improve current market position. And inverted U-shape relationship between the type of diversification and overall firm performance indicates that high and low levels of diversification are generally associated with lower overall performance. Highly diversified firms experienced a diversification discount in the stock market because they are unable to create additional value. Strategic managers who are interested in diversifying their firm should always remember that successful diversification should be aligned with and strengthen a firm's business strategy. Corporate-level strategy answers external market a firm should compete, where when examining the transaction cost economics. Framework strategic managers are trying to decide on what activity to perform inside the firm and/or outside the firm. Why is strategy implementation referred to as the graveyard of strategy? Managers often fail to implement a chosen strategy successfully despite extensive analysis of business environments. Why was Yahoo's CEO, Jerry Yang, forced out in 2008? He failed to implement necessary strategic changes after Yahoo lost its competitive advantage. Why do firm strategies often follow their structures instead of the other way around? Managers tend to consider strategies that do not change existing organizational structures. Which of the following is instrumental in creating a tightly coupled system of strategy and structure in an organization? Managers that achieve a mastery of the firm's current environment. A tightly coupled system of strategy and structure is prone to break apart when external and internal shifts put pressure on the system. Which of the following best indicates that W.L. Gore and Associates has an informal and decentralized organizational structure? It prefers face-to-face communication over email and does not have an organizational chart. Which of the following is a benefit of a high degree of formalization in an organization? Consistent results. Which of the following exemplifies the organic nature of W.L. Gore's organizational structure? It has no formal chain of command or standard operating procedures. In terms of the key features of organic organizations, which of the following firms is most likely to have an organic structure? Icebox, a software development firm, which focuses on building innovative products. Since W.L. Gore's core competency is innovation, A.N. mechanistic structure would most likely be detrimental to its efforts. Which of the following is a characteristic of a mechanistic organization? High degree of specialization. Inkwell is a pen manufacturing company based in Massachusetts. Inkwell's main area of operation is Massachusetts, and it has a strong hold over the market. It employs a robust production system, which helps it sell pens at exceptionally low prices. In this scenario, which of the following strategies is Inkwell most likely using? Cost leadership strategy. In order to implement a cost leadership strategy effectively, a functional and mechanistic structure is preferred in a firm. One disadvantage of a functional structure is that it frequently lacks effective communication channels across departments. Strategic business units, SBUs, in a company that uses an unrelated diversification strategy are in direct competition with each other because each SBU is evaluated as a standalone profit and loss center. Which of the following is a shortcoming of the matrix structure? Its implementation is difficult due to significant organizational complexity and increased administrative costs. Which of the following factors has led to a shift toward open innovation? The exponential growth of venture capital. Sam Walton was responsible for Walmart's cost leadership strategy that continues to guide the company to this day. His influence on the organization's culture is best described as founder imprinting. Input controls seek to define and direct employee behavior through a set of codified rules and standard procedures. Over time, 3M has relied on the results-only work environment, ROW, framework, and has morphed into a highly science-driven innovation company. At 3M, employees are encouraged to spend 15% of their time on projects of their own choosing. If any of these projects look promising, 3M provides financing through an internal venture capital fund and other resources to further develop their commercial potential. This real-world scenario best illustrates output controls. The three key components of organizational design are structure, culture, and control. Which of the following statements are true as it relates to the topic of organizational design? Strategy should be more influential on designing an organizational structure versus how structure should influence strategy. Which three key levers below are needed for an organization to effectively design its reporting relationships and broader organizational structure? Structure, culture, and control. Alfred Chandler, famed business historian, suggests that a firm's organizational structure should follow its business and corporate level strategy because organizational structure is just as dynamic as a firm's strategy. Why did the San Francisco's Metro Transit Authority, MTA, order Uber to cease and desist? MTA argued that Uber was operating a taxi service without proper licensing. Which of the following is true of public stock companies? There exists an implicit contract based on trust between society and the public stock company. Donald owns shares of Meat and Bones Steakhouse, a food and beverages company. The company's financial situation takes a turn for the worse and ends up in severe debt. Despite owning shares of Meat and Bones Steakhouse, Donald is not responsible for bringing more money into the company to get it out of its debt. Which characteristic of public stock companies does this scenario best exemplify? Limited liability for investors. In public stock companies, the stockholders are the legal owners of the company who delegate decision-making authority to professional managers. Michael Porter is in favor of the shared value creation framework because he believes that it will not only allow companies to gain and sustain a competitive advantage, but it will also reshape capitalism and its relationship to society. Wayne Enterprises Incorporated is a publicly traded company that specializes in manufacturing consumer electronics. Which of the following best exemplifies the implementation of a shared value creation framework at Wayne Enterprises Incorporated? Wayne Enterprises uses recycled materials to create its commercially successful products. Which of the following real-world examples best exemplifies a shared value creation framework? GE's eco-imagination strategy that focuses on providing cleaner and efficient sources of energy while generating billions in revenues. Which of the following is a problem that corporate governance seeks to address? The principal-agent problem. How is the characteristic of separation of legal ownership and management control disadvantageous to publicly traded companies? The managers delegated to make decisions on behalf of shareholders might pursue their personal interests. Which of the following best exemplifies information asymmetry at Rainhome Industries Incorporated, a publicly traded software development firm? The board of directors at Rainhome Industries makes significant structural changes to the organization and waits several weeks before issuing a press release about it. Which of the following is one of the implications of information asymmetry between principals and agents? Agents can pass on the information to select principals who can trade stocks based on this information. According to agency theory, corporations are viewed as a set of legal contracts between different parties. In terms of agency theory, which of the following is an agency problem? Adverse selection. Which of the following descriptions best exemplifies adverse selection? A manager cannot ascertain the contributions of individual team members in team production. Which of the following is a recommended guideline for the composition of a board of directors to implement corporate governance? Close to 2/3 of the board of directors should consist of outside directors. A leveraged buyout, LBO, changes the ownership structure of a company from public to private. What, according to Greg Smith, was the cause for the change in ethical climate within Goldman Sachs? The company went public and began looking at clients and itself as counterparties to a transaction. Which one of the following statements below can best be linked to the Nobel laureate Milton Friedman? The social responsibility of a business is to increase its profits. Which of the following is not true concerning corporate governance? Corporate governance exists only in public organizations. The risk of employee opportunism on behalf of agents is exacerbated by the concept of information asymmetry. Corporate governance is a mechanism to direct and control an enterprise and attempts to address the principal-agent problem, which can occur any time an agent performs activities on behalf of a principal.